Good afternoon and welcome to our first Marketing for Main Street in 7 minutes or less. I'm Chad Hill and I'm joined by Adam Stetzer.
Yeah, good afternoon, Chad. It's going to be fun. Got a lot of good stuff to talk about today.
Excellent. And just a few housekeeping notes. We will be streaming this live. We will be sending out some invites and instructions on how to join this on a recurring basis. Our goal is to get it out Thursday around noon Eastern time. So we'll jump right in. We wanted to lead off today with a story that broke in the Performance Marketing Summit last week, where Google announced that it now handles trillions of searches each year. Danny Sullivan from Search Engine Land said that means that it's at least 2 trillion, but likely more. And just to break that down to show you the volume that Google's doing, that's 3.8 million searches per minute, 63,000 per second. They're saying that over half of those searches are on mobile devices. We talk about the importance of mobile. Here you go. Half of those searches are there. And they really didn't give a whole lot more detail. I think that the last time they gave a measurement, it says here, was back in 2012, where they said they were doing 1.2 trillion per year. So Adam, what does this mean for Main Street?
Yeah, what does it mean? Well, I mean, people love to say, oh, search is dead and there's all this new stuff happening, but it's still a very, very robust place to be. People are searching all the time. You just heard the stats from Chad, and they're looking for businesses in your industry and your product. You're a small business. You need to get in front of these people, and you don't want to miss this opportunity to connect with these clients. So even if this is slowing down, the acceleration is slowing down, which is a lot of people have been predicting for a very long time, Chad. I can remember reading these articles 6 and 7 years ago. Search is going to be dead. It's still very robust, and it's a place you need to be. So we hear this every day from our customers. All right, next news story to cover here, Chad, is that Twitter is making some changes. They're easing up on their 140 character limit. I know this is something that has been discussed for many, many years, but the social media platform has announced that images, usernames, quoted tweets, and other attachments will no longer count against the 140 character limit. This is going to allow users to discuss things more easily and share images and other materials and still be able to accompany those other materials with a decent sized tweet, which is something people have complained about for a long time. Why is Twitter doing this? Well, they have not been gaining a lot of new users, and they've really been struggling to get their advertising off the ground, unlike Facebook. So they're evolving, Chad.
Yeah, and I think that this, again, will kind of break it down on what it means for Main Street customers. I think Twitter, the reality is that Facebook is exploding right now. So this is, I think that I recently saw a stat that the percentage of people advertising on Facebook and using Facebook for a small business at least has doubled in a year, gone from like 23% to 40-something% of businesses. So, clearly Facebook's just killing it. Twitter's sitting here saying, what do we do? How do we play in this market where Facebook is today? This is one thing that the 140 characters, a lot of people have a hard time with, and I agree. When you're posting links and photos, it is very difficult. So I think this is just a way to try to make it a little bit easier for small business to use Twitter. They still have to figure something out for getting the clicks and making their ad product work more effectively, but every one step at a time. Which leads us here into our third story about mobile page speed will soon be a factor in mobile rankings. And this is something that just as recent as yesterday on the 1st, Gary Iles, who is one of the front men for talking to webmasters about what's going on at Google, again announced, as he said this several times, but he announced again that mobile page speed will soon impact your site's mobile rankings. I feel a little bit like a Fed chairman here because you have to analyze those words very carefully. We've heard things like they'll soon roll out Penguin, they'll soon do other things. So it's hard to know exactly what soon means. Now they did say it should be a matter of months. Right now, and this is an update that was made a couple years ago, desktop load speed is a factor. It's a very small factor in the search results. But it will now also be moving over to be mobile specific. And Google does have some tools where you can check your how well your website performs with their page speed insight tool. So just Google that and check it out. But I think the thing we wanted to talk about was how this signal from Google relates to another big project they've been pushing on, which is AMP pages. AMP pages stand for Accelerated mobile pages. And really what it does is it allows publishers to give Google the underlying format of a page that then Google stores in their servers. And so when you're on a mobile device and you're trying to visit a page, you will, instead of actually going to that website's web servers to see that page, it will now actually be served up directly from Google servers. Now, this is the page will have a common format. It's supposed to load lightning fast. Right now, not that many people have signed on to this, mostly bigger publishers. So people like the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, BuzzFeed have all either started to roll out content using this AMP framework, or are in the process of doing it. And the other thing to mention here is that right now, AMP pages only applies to article or blog style content. They have not yet rolled out frameworks or definitions for other page layouts, such as an e-commerce shopping page. And one final point, WordPress does have a plugin. So fortunately for a lot of people using WordPress, if you're interested in getting on the AMP framework bandwagon, it's relatively straightforward. You just need to get this plugin that can be added to your website. So, Adam, what does this mean for Main Street?
Yeah, I mean, you just said the big guys have adopted this. It's not been widely adopted in smaller businesses. So what does this mean for Main Street small businesses? Well, AMP is not currently a ranking factor, so that often turns heads when you say something's going to become one. But we do need to listen to what Google is saying. They want AMP everywhere. And so here's a quote from a VP of engineering. This was at SMX West in March. Everywhere we use content, we want to embrace AMP. So it's a pretty bold statement. AMP will impact not only the user experience, but whether people will engage with your site, and it will also impact impressions and clicks. This is one view from someone at Google talking about this. So they have a pretty bold view of where this is going to be in the future. We know that search is still the most common starting point, even for people on mobile. And 94% of US smartphone users search for local information on their phone. So it's a ubiquitous search tool. They start with search, and AMP is the framework that Google's putting out there. Another stat, 77% of those mobile searches they have a worker at home, meaning they could use a desktop. People are often choosing to use a mobile device. I'm sure we can all relate to that behavior. It's sort of whatever's closest to you. You're sitting in the family room, there's no desktop there anymore, but there might be a phone or a tablet. So there's just a lot coming down the pipeline on this, Chad. I don't think we really know how big it will be, but the big publishers are definitely adopting it, and it's something that we do need to put on our radar and start watching. If you're wanting to learn more, there is a good tutorial from Google that you can take a look and understand what this whole framework is all about.
Well, excellent. Well, thank you for joining us today. We do want to say that you should subscribe to our YouTube channel. You will get a real-time notification when we're starting these broadcasts, and we'll be getting some information out on how to join, maybe even taking a couple questions if that works in the format going forward. So thank you very much. Have a great day.